how much does the Respirogene lung cancer test cost? The answer is £300.
Thanks so much. You're watching The Right Stuff with Anne Diamond, Anton Dubeck and Pals Carol Decker. Catch you at the 80s Rewind Festival, 3 days of fun in Henley, Oxfordshire this August. A little later on this show, are shy people vain? Excessively focused on themselves? How other people see them? 0207 173 5555. That's the number for your thoughts. But first, a little bit of mischief. I'm asking, what's the point of this new lung cancer gene test for smokers? Will it persuade more nicotine fiends to pack their habit in? I'll be honest, I have my doubts. If you have this particular gene and you smoke, you will have an 80% chance of developing lung cancer. The gene makes you 10 times more likely than other smokers to develop lung cancer and 200 times more likely than non-smokers. Eek. The £300 Respirogene test involves taking a saliva swab, filling in a family history form, you send the sample away and you get the results back within weeks. So, you're a smoker, and the results say you don't have the gene. Hurrah! I'm not going to die of lung cancer. I can carry on smoking. You might still die of a heart attack, pneumonia, stroke, emphysema, lose your legs to thrombosis, but you won't have lung cancer. But what then if the test says you do have a gene, that there's an 80% chance you're going to develop lung cancer? Would that persuade you to stub out your habit? I doubt it, you see, because you've known that pretty much all your adult life, that smoking causes lung cancer. There have been warnings on cigarette packets telling you just that for the last 38 years. They didn't stop you. Will this gene test fare any better? What do you reckon, Carol?
I think it's never...
Have you ever smoked?
Yes, I did. I had my first ciggy when I was 13 in a playground with some very rough secondary modern children. So, yes, should have stuck to my grammar school colleagues. And I smoked till I was about 28, and then I've been packed in a long time now. But when I was a smoker, I don't think any... Especially when I was young, because you do feel immortal when you're young. It's not me, it always happens to somebody else. So I don't think this would have encouraged me to stop. I think you stop anything when you're good and ready to stop it, really. So I don't see the point. And what I find worrying about this is... interestingly enough, I had something arrive through the post the other day about, would you like to know if you're going to have a stroke, test? Because I've reached that age where I must be on a database where I'm in the early stages of death, and they keep sending me all these things.
Oh, they're interesting. We're all in the early stages
I
of
actually
death.
would just let the dice roll where they may. Smoking is folly. It's absolute folly. It's the best thing I ever did, quitting. But you're not going to convince a dyed-in-the-wool addict.
I have to say, I've only recently still been a non-smoker because I relapse. But I would take the view if I got the result back saying I had the cancer gene, that I might be the 20% that isn't going to contract the disease. And if it came back saying I didn't have the gene, in fact, this would be the only reason I'd do the test in the first place, Anton, is for the reassuring news that I'm not going to get lung cancer. And you just blank out all the other nasties that you can get it. So I think it could actually be a bad thing, positively affirming that smokers might not die of lung cancer.
Smokers are the worst type of people to ask them to stop. Smokers will find every reason to continue to smoke. They don't need...
That's why I think this test may actually... I'll do the test, so it's come back saying I don't have lung cancer. Great, now I can smoke.
Yeah, but the test should say you're going to die of lung cancer sooner, because you will die of lung cancer if you smoke.
Well, no, heart attacks might get you first.
Well, if it doesn't, you're going to get lung cancer. It's, you can't smoke and not die soon. It's I've got
my Uncle Ted, he lived to 95, he smoked 100 a day. There's always one.
Yeah, but he could have lived to 105, or 120. He could have been the world's oldest man, but he smoked himself to death. My pal is a smoker and has been since I've known him since we were kids, and he's smoked since we were kids, and he's still smoking now. And I say to him all the time in a reassuring voice, you're going to die, and I'm not going to be there to watch you and carry your oxygen tank, smoky boy. Now, but he won't quit. He's a nightmare, and I plead with him. I say, listen, I'm not going to...
Would you spend £300 of your money? Would you invest £300 of your money
give up
in
smoking.
this test for him?
No.
Buying the test and seeing if it
No, I'd
freaks him
rather
out?
poke him in the eye with a pencil.
Yeah.
OK,
and pin him to the ground and say, don't smoke.
That's the
before.
key question. Would it, if you were desperately trying to get a relative to give up smoking, would
Would
this
it
make
make
a
any
difference?
difference to
And I
smoking?
think probably most of us would think no, it wouldn't, because smoking starts when you're a kid, and that's you need to get at the mentality then, and you can't. I think we might as well accept you can't. And so you worry about it. You'll pay £300 for the test, and you'll still go on worrying because it won't come back with a black and white answer for you either. It's not going to say you're 80% more likely. It's going to say you're 59.5% more likely or something. You're going to think, oh well, that's all right then, because you'll read it the way you want to. So
Yeah, which
They
means
should, they should make it a lie. What they should do is they should say, do the test. And then whoever does the test should just write in a big felt-tip
You're
pen,
gonna die of cancer.
you're going to die of cancer.
But they
in a
already
horrid
do
way.
it, Anton. That's what they already
it's
put on the
already there.
packets, and that's why I'm wondering if this test would make any difference. I love
You
your
know, people
thoughts.
who smoke can't read. As soon as they get a bite, they can generally, but when they buy a cigarette packet, they go, oh, my eyes have
Now
gone.
it comes with handy pictures.
I gave up smoking for my career because I was touring a lot, and also because my then boyfriend told me, because I smoked roll-ups, that I was getting a mouth like a dog's butthole. So, like this. But it still wasn't my health.
That's the
None of the
thing.
health
That's the
implications
thing.
stopped me. It was vanity.
OK, let's throw it open to you. Kirsty, what do people say?
And we've got some great colours. Jane actually did a PhD on the smoking gene.
Are you a smoker, Jane?
No, I'm not.
OK. What do you know about this test, then?
I mean, I did my PhD on looking at all these different tests for, adult onset diseases.
Yeah.
And the smoking test has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
But the problem is, the research we have doesn't suggest that knowledge helps you to change your behaviour. So it doesn't help you to give up smoking. So all it does is allow you to smoke with an extra level of anxiety.
Which makes you want to smoke more.
Stress
So
and
that's a big problem. And as you've said, all those other smoking-related diseases, smokers already know that you're very highly susceptible to things like emphysema and other smoking-related diseases. It doesn't stop anyone picking up a cigarette. So you have to ask, is this a good idea? Are you just burdening people who are unable to change their behaviour for whatever reason with an extra level of anxiety?
I've seen the film, and I'm sure you have, of the man who had the tracheotomy, so he's had his throat removed, he speaks out of here, and he still goes on smoking. So it shows you just how deep an addiction it can be. I say ban them altogether. Jane, thank you for the call. Let's have another.
We have Natalie on line 1.
Natalie, good morning.
Good morning.
Would you have bought this test for anybody?
No.
No.
Definitely not. I think it's a complete waste of taxpayers' money, frankly.
Well, it's actually your money rather than taxpayers' money. For once, this is something you can buy as an individual rather than on the government orders.
Oh, fair enough. Well, no, I think it's a complete waste of money. At the end of the day, you know when you pick up a cigarette that you are at risk of contracting cancer, and it's your choice. I mean, my dad died of lung cancer, and I still would not have said to him, go and have this test, because, hello, he's smoking, so he knows one way or the other. Like you say, if it's not lung cancer, then it's going to be the fact that there's cancer in his family anyway. So if it's not lung cancer, then, there are carcinogens going into your body, whether it's causing them, cancer to come into your lungs or any other part of your body, or heart attack or
What's the...
else.
As someone... I mean, you've lost your dad to lung cancer. If you were Gordon Brown, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but if you were, what would you do to address the problem of smoking in this country?
To be honest, smokers will smoke if they want to at the end of the day. I smoked for a very long time.
Right.
I talked myself into it. It's like, I think Carol was saying, you convince yourself, and it's not about health or anything like that. And to give up, I didn't use any of the support structures in place with the NHS or anything like that, which I'm sure they're great for some
I think
people.
they are, yeah.
They are, I'm sure they are, but I have to be really, really harsh with myself. And I wrote myself like a mission statement, and I said in my mission statement, because I was convincing myself that I was keeping myself closer to my dad by smoking, because that's something we had in common. And in my mission statement, I wrote, the only way I'm going to stay close to my dad is by putting myself in an early grave with him. And I read that every single time I went to pick up a cigarette.
Do you know what? Apart from the fact that strikes me as a really good idea, I'm just chuffed that we have people watching this show that draw up their own mission statements. Thank you, Natalie. Impressive. After the break, we're asking if shy people are vain. Perhaps the vainest people of all. How can they be, I hear you ask? Shy people don't like attention. They lack self-confidence. They avoid eye contact. But aren't they also excessively focused on themselves and how they come across? That's fairly vain, isn't it? 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts. All that obsession with how other people see them. Are shy people the vainest folk of all? We'll find out with your help after the ads.
How many Britons say they're shy? 20%, 40% or 60%? Find out after the break.